Chennaiyin FC are one of those Indian football sides that ever since their inception during the early days of the Indian Super League have tasted some success, but that hasn't necessarily been the case in recent times. They were, of course, or rather are, of course, two-time champions. They won it in 2015, then a year later in 2017, making them one of few teams to have won the title multiple times. Yet since 2017, there's been something of a drought of sorts when you're looking at the fact that, they've never really come close to winning the title again. And that's a bit of a shame because Chennaiyin FC are one of those sides who are very, very well supported. They have consistently averaged about 20,000 fans in the stadium consistently, and of course even on social media they're a side that do seem to command a very, very good fan following. So naturally, if you're a fan of the side, you will be hoping that this time around they are able to kind of rebound from what was admittedly not the best of 2022-23 seasons, get one better from there. And of course they have made some changes both in their playing staff as well as the management. We'll get to the management parts in just a bit, but first let's take a look at the kind of exodus that has happened when it comes to their players. And believe you me when I say there's a fair few changes made in that regard. First, let's take a look at a quick list at the number of players who've left. Now, if you go by that, you've had Gurmukh Singh, you had Prasant K, who's gone. Anirudh Thapa, probably one of the biggest departures, someone who's been their captain and was seen as someone who could lead them in the future. There's no Jackson Haas, there's no Bonatos Chakradar. Edwin Vanspal, his contract went, he too is not going. Then, of course, Abd Nasser El Khayati, Petar Sliskovic, who's of course left. Then you've had Kwame Karikari, Julius Duker, Wafa Hakmameshi and Falu Diagne. All of these players who've left. If you count quickly, that is total of 12 players who have just gone from the club. Again, it's not the kind of ideal build-up you'd have if you were a football club. Ideally, you'd not be letting go of more than 6-7 players a season and maybe bringing in a few to make up for those lost numbers. But it is kind of along expected lines considering that Chennai just haven't been anywhere close to good enough in the recent past. And they've brought in a few quality players as well to replace those who have gone. First off, they've gone abroad and brought in the likes of Rafael Crivellaro and Connor Shields. Connor Shields, of course, someone who has experience of playing in, Europe and Scotland. And of course, even in the Premier League. There's Jordan Murray was another one they've brought in. Could be a good signing. Farooq Chaudhary, of course, someone who's well-known, proven quantity. Irfan Yadwad, of course, someone who's younger, can be someone they build around. Then there's Prateek Kumar Singh, Sachu Sibi, Ankit Mukherjee and Bijay Chetri. Again, when you look at this, it's not exactly the most star-studded lineup of players who they've brought in. Of course, there's a few interesting foreign signings they've made, but that's pretty much about it. Of course, that being said, it's not just about bringing in star level players and hoping that they click instantly. More often than not, as you've seen in football, it is simply the matter of playing the long game. It's about bringing in a few players, building around them and hoping that in about a season, maybe 2 or 3, they are good enough to be competitive at the top half of the table. But this is just, of course, when you're talking about the player side of things. They have made a few key changes when it comes to, of course, their management as well, because they will be managed in the upcoming season by Owen Coyle, someone who, of course, has been in and around the Indian football system for a while and who incidentally got his break in Chennaiyin FC. If you remember, when he first came to Chennai and they'd finished bottom of the table that year, but the year later he took them to the League Shields level, which means that in the group stage of the ISL they finished at the top of the table. Of course, ever since then he departed. He was at Jamshedpur FC where he accomplished something similar, but again, neither Jamshedpur didn't win the title, but Chennai since that point have slipped down considerably. So maybe Owen Coyle could be that magic fix-it, because again, he's had a similar impact before. The last time he came to the club, they finished bottom. The next season under his management, they finished at the top of the table. Of course, now they'd be wanting to go one better than finishing just at the top of the table. They'd also want to maybe win the playoffs and be crowned ISL champions, because again, it's been a very long time since that honor has rested with Chennaiyin FC. Although I will say this, that the kind of transfer work they've done doesn't leave me that confident that they maybe have the side to do it this year. But if they can show some good progress on the field and maybe bring in a couple more signings in the next season, then I reckon they would be primed for a run to be crowned India's next domestic football champions. But at least that's how I feel about it. What do you guys think? You can let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, tap the bell icon, leave us a comment, follow us on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. Don't forget to download the AajTak app, and if you're already on the channel, go ahead and check out some other videos that we've done. But for now, from my side, it is goodbye.